Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 132. This episode is titled Orcs Are Balanced, and this is the April Fool's episode. I hope everybody's doing well. I am Innes. I am joined by Jeremy and Anthony, and we are here to talk about all things Warhammer. We have stats for the first time in a few weeks. We have pickles. I have a new microphone. It's all really just coming up Millhouse right now. So Jeremy, Anthony, hope you guys are doing well. But let's do the easy intro bit. Anthony, kick us off. How you doing? Because Jeremy's shoveling food in his face.
Oh, whoa, caught me totally off guard there. I am doing pretty good. I have this thing. She's all right. What else? What did I do last week? I hung out with people. I did social stuff, not Warhammer stuff. That was all right.
Disgusting.
That was great, actually. It's nice to do some stuff that isn't, in the context of like me having to be perfect at it all the time. It's kind of sick. What else happened? Helping the boys get ready for Home Nations, doing some practice for that, trying to get the boys shipped up and ready to roll. Keeping an eye on the general goings-ons. I've been playing a lot of Emperor's Children, because that is my like, oh god, what if world leaders are bad army now? Them and CSM, but like, I don't know.
We all have our prisons.
Yeah. Hopefully world leaders just aren't bad and I can just stay in my nice comfy cage. It's less of a cage and more of an apartment at this point. Like, it's furnished, it's got cable, like it's pretty good. So yeah. I don't think I have anything else that happened. That was pretty much it, yeah.
If you had one sentence, why are EC cool for anybody who's still on the fence about them?
EC cool?
Yeah, why are you enjoying them?
They can do whatever they want all the times. Like, basically take, what is
so like
fundamentally
marine elves is what you're saying?
Not quite. That's not like the vibe is wrong. They're not tricky. They're just gonna like go ahead and do what they please. Like you're never confused during an Emperor's Children game. You're never like, whoa, crazy. Never saw that coming. But there is some like, it's just like, no, I would like to be over there now. So
they get to choose how they punch you in the face at all times.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the times, the way those units do that, pretty inspiring stuff. And then some of them, not so much, and that's okay. I'm weirdly coming down with, I think, a bit of a preference for Carnival, but we'll see how that all lands. So, yeah. Demonettes, a unit that is not very interesting in Demons, is really good in Emperor's Children.
Oh, there's so much fun in Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
Having a unit, being able to buff that unit and actually have it have, like, profiles that matter is nice, and it's also, like, the cheapest thing that holds objectives with good OC and Emperor's Children, right?
It's cheap. The Battle Shock has a lot of synergy with a bunch of the other stuff going on. It's in a detachment with a good detachment roll. It's in a detachment with the best enhancements. Just pretty good. It's weird because that detachment doesn't leverage like what at this point I would consider to be the best data sheet in the book, but not as much anyway. But yeah, broadly it's pretty good.
For those not paying attention, which data sheet is that?
That is the Winged Demon Prince.
Fuck yeah.
Probably the best data sheet in...
-1 damage is just a hell of a rule anytime it shows
-1 damage and tank shock built in.
Yeah, I mean, it's way better than tank shock, right? Like, it's really good.
It's closer to old tank shock, right?
Yeah. The consistent...
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
At full health, it's 10 dice on 4s.
Yeah.
With a cap of 6, so...
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. That shit is stupid. It's also not a stratagem, right? So it's like, this prince does it. This prince does it. One more.
This rhino also tank shocks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to go about it that way, you can do that too. So I don't think Carnival does quite as good a job leveraging the princes, but it does a lot better job buffing other stuff. And it also doesn't require you to do this like fucking 80-step galaxy brain, fucking see the future,
Really hope you don't go second in the wrong game as Coterie, right?
I mean, yeah, that's probably really confusing. I mean, there's probably a lot to it. There's like a bunch that's like really involved. I'm just like not that guy. Like, there's like a lot that you could set up as like traps and tricks and like be like, oh, I'm gonna pledge
You're
once
just like,
and you can't
2.
come out. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. Like I just played like before, like literally just before I came on the cast, I was playing Coterie into Nick playing Inari, and it was like all right. Every action in game has 9 consequences, and it was just like that was a mess. So we got through more of it than I expected to, given that we started at 3:30. So that was cool. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress. I just like having more dudes, I think. But yeah, we'll see. I also really like having good exultants. I don't know if that's just like a holdover from playing CSM and eaters, but like the regular exultants are like in Coterie are just like, pretty good.
They're there.
They're not bad. I would never call an exultant bad. They do
If they live
stuff.
till if they live till like turn 4, they're gonna do some juice.
Yeah, but normally
In
they don't
and
make
out
it
the
that
other
far.
time.
At least when I play them, because they're how you get
The
the
thing
count.
getting you tally.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And it's possible that one day I'll play a combined arms army against a combined arms army, and I'll be able to use something other than exultants to get that early tally. But a lot of these games for me have looked like exultants die early so that noise marines and princes can win the game. Whereas the possessed blade guy alone in Carnival, holy. Anyway, we've gotten really off track into. We can talk about EC in a bit, I guess. So Jeremy, how was your weekend?
I wanted to make sure Jeremy had time to eat. That was really what it was all about.
Pretty much. I'm still not done, but at the very least, I've had something, so I won't be.
Oh, I can keep going.
No. You've ceded your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm doing well. Most of the weekend was spent doing work, unfortunately. So not a whole lot. And getting ready for the team event that we have upcoming this weekend, which Innes is extremely excited for. I think everyone on the team is super pumped for this. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but Innes is coming down to Canada for a tournament finally.
It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, Jeremy's unfortunately been busy with like real life and stuff. Ridiculous.
Yeah, having a like proper day job and whatnot again really sucks. The money's good, but like,
I mean, that certainly seems to be a good time for that for the StatCheck hosts. That's why we've not seen Nathan in a few weeks. So yeah. He's doing very well for himself right now, but he's still moving into his place in Boston. So he'll be back in a couple.
Half the StatCheck crew are just like, real life. What's that?
Imagine having a real life. As for myself, I was at a tournament this weekend. I played at the Las Vegas Open Teams tournament with our, quite frankly, hilariously stupid roster. We had myself on a Yunari. We had one of my teammates, Sam, on Votan playing the Schneider list. And then we had Rob playing Annihilation Legion Necrons. We had Graham playing Crush Snappy Tyranids. And then we had another Sam who was playing Ordo Hereticus Imperial Agents. Now, I want to give a specific shout out to Sam because we were looking at the stats beforehand. That army had an 18% win rate, 18% win rate across 27 games. He single-handedly went 3 wins and 2 draws at this team event, including beating Shadow Legion and Yunari.
Yeah. Get him, son.
You know what? Good job.
So, look, I don't know if he was just stunting on people or if they just like nobody had the idea that they were going to be able to play against 3 Armigers, 2 immolators, and 100 models with 4 convertible save 5 Feel No Pain. But like
drown him
in flesh, bro. That's all he was doing.
He played Hereticus and not Imperialist Fleet with that?
Hereticus, bro. Not a single Deathwatch model. Just 3 Armigers, 2 it was 3 Armigers, 2 immolators, and then like every subductor and rogue trader entourage and breacher he could fit in the list.
Jesus.
Like the 42-inch infiltrate screen that just drops down, blocks your entire army in, and then he just slams the 5 Feel No Pain on the 4 convertible save units and just goes, nothing does damage to me. And then battle shocks you until you fall off primary. It's great. He was having a great time.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
I watched him playing in Shadow Legion, and they just sat on one objective with like 36 Nurglings and 10 dudes still holding the objective as neither of them died for the entire game. It was beautiful. Really, it was.
Peak.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to those guys. So we went 4 wins and a draw. We drew with the winning team, which was the team that had more of the Team Scotland members than ours did. So power to them. Bruce dropped another perfect 100 with Creations of Bile, playing Anthony's exact list because there was only one. I managed a 94. I accidentally paired an Eldar Mirror and only got a 14. Yeah. I had a really good time with the Devoted Vinayat, though. It's such a fun detachment. I fully understand that it's bullshit and that it's broken and it should not exist in the context that it does. But holy crap, do you just feel like a mad Machiavellian genius every second you're playing it? You're just like, and then if you do anything, here is my cunning trap. And it's like, It's not in any way, shape, or form cunning. You are not clever for playing Yunari, but it really does make you feel clever.
Look, here's the thing. All right, listen. So a while ago, Lennon hit me with this phrase, and I have lived by it since, which is that every time someone does this shit to you, where they're playing Eldar and they're like, "Oh, look how smart I am," being hard to play against is not the same thing as being hard to play. God damn
Yep.
it.
Absolutely agreed. Most
Yeah.
of my games were, and then I walked your brain onto the expansion objective and
Yeah.
sat there with fight first. And
Yeah.
my opponent went, I can't interact with that. And I went, yup.
Yeah. Yay.
And then the Unicorn was on their home objective because I threw Warp Spiders at it on turn 2. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't complicated. It definitely should get nerfed. It felt very powerful the entire time. Watching a Warden unit decide if it wanted to lose 2 models to your range shooting or 3 models to combat, where the puppets feel no pain was quite fun. So I don't want to use it against either of these. I'm like, I don't really care. You're gonna have to use it one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that sounds about right.
It was
I
pretty
played
brutal.
into them last night in the Vibe Check League against Zach Point, and it was very funny because I oopsied and got Yin card to turn 1.
Oh no.
At which point the Yin card then got one shot by a Vindicator the next turn.
Oh
so.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
Turns out you don't have half damage anymore.
Yeah.
But definitely the peak from that was 5 intercessors acing the Incubi brick.
Whoops.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Fair enough.
20 shots, oath, hitting on 3s, rerolling, wounding on 2s, AP1
Well,
ignore cover.
I understand the math. I just don't like the math.
I think he had lost like 1 Incubi earlier, but the squad died. He CPU rerolled, saved the 1 Incubi, and then I tank shocked it to death.
Hell yeah. That's deserved. If you try to save the 1 Incubi, the Incubi didn't deserve to live in the first place.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, my games, I played round 1. I played against Gordon on Canoptic Court. Managed to turn 1 precision at Technomancer with the Autarch going deep, and then turn 2 precision at the other one with the Yinkarn, and then the Technomancer, then the Wraith Squad stopped dying, and the Lichguard brick with Imitek got just clean one shot by Yin of Rain, which is great. I love doing Dev Wounds. It's just so much fun. Game 2, I played against Seer Council. I got a 14 to that one. It turns out trying to catch the last Eldar models in Scorched Earth is a goddamn nightmare. I burned my home objective on 5 going second. Just like, there's like 1 way leaper left on a side objective that I had to like move off. I like moved my Yvrainberg off its home objective 10 inches, healed 2 models at the front of the squad, banged the charge into the middle onto a wave serpent, 6-inch piling consolidated to take him off his side objective. I'm like, shouldn't have been able to move 35 inches with this 7-inch move unit, but let's not worry about that. That's probably fine. Never in doubt that I was going to be able to deny that objective.
Yeah.
But then because I had to do that, I then couldn't like kill the wave serpent, and I wouldn't probably have killed anyway. I've only gotten like 5 dudes fighting it, but the wave serpent then just like the Dark Crypt inside it just jumped out and walked on my own objective, and Jane's had already been there at the turn earlier to clear it off. So yeah, I got a 14 there, which was super respectable. Game 3, I played against Gene Circle, played against Biosanctic. And this was one of those games where I think he over-respected the amount of speed that I could throw at him without stopping him. So he put nothing in reserve. And I just like walked through his army because he had no threat on me besides stuff that was coming back. And I was quite careful about controlling when I killed Acolyte squads. We had a Wave Serpent sit in combat with 5 Acolytes for 3 battle rounds because I just refused to shoot them. I'm not giving you them back. You're not having them.
You stay here.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. The game 4 I played against. Was that game? Game 4 was Experimental Tau. Yeah, I think I played against Experimental Cadre Tau, and my god, is that army not very good. I have never been less impressed with Tau than watching it just like get outshot by 3 squads of Dark Reapers. I'm just like, oh yeah, no, you're just all dying. This is horrible.
Yeah. The Experimental Cadre is cool, but it didn't fix any of the problems that army already had.
I think it's quite good. It just, I don't know.
It's still Tau, right? It's a really good detachment. It's just attached to the Tau book.
I don't even think I don't know. I have complicated thoughts about Tau. Tau seems like they're very close to being very good. So it's like
yeah, that's fair. I had this horrible sequence happen for him where he had like a 5 health commander in combat with a unit, and then another 5 health in combat, 5 level commander in combat with a unit. So I walked a squad of fire dragons up, popped the first commander, freed the first unit of fire dragons with Autark, popped the second commander with them, and then the war spider squad that freed up because I had the Power Blades Exarch, then shot and killed the stealth team. So I just popped one, and then all four units then charged afterwards into his deployment zone. He had 9 wounds left at the end of turn 3. Yeah, it was not fun. Anthony, you play the only archetype that has any game into it, and you still don't think they're actually good.
I know. I know Tau's good into me. I was trying to paint with a broader stroke, right? It's not just armies that I play in the game.
That doesn't sound right. That's not how you usually think. Stop it, Anthony.
That's not true at all.
On the show, I know in real life you're smart. And then game 5, I played into Lions of the Emperor Custodes, and I was definitely not like.
Speaking of armies, Tau's good into.
I knew mathematically what that army did. Watching it shoot me and actually hurt was not something I was ready for emotionally. Just that guard squad really does just rip through whatever it wants with characters and stuff like that. But it wasn't unfortunately very hard to stop it standing on objectives in the ritual. Between the two of us, we made one objective each and then just beat the shit out of each other the entire time.
Sick.
We both made an objective turn 1, and then it was well, every unit in my army needs to activate now, and every unit in your army needs to activate now. So objective time is done. And then I got 15s every turn after that. It was good. It's my favorite way to get 15s, really. So yeah, it's super cool. Great to go through to Glasgow. It was just 8 teams, 5 mans. So we played the final effectively in round 3, which is where we got our draw. So it's always weird going back to day 2 and being we've played the only other team that was probably going to beat us, so we've got to go play 2 more games.
Yeah,
but it's still good to get out and play the games. I managed to find a store with an in-stock Fuegan, so I've actually got a Fuegan to build and paint now. So I'm ready for when the Devoted Divini get nerfed to hell. I actually found one. I was very impressed with myself. Nice. I've got a Lycus coming in the mail, so I'm almost ready to sell out and be there are more than one Elder Detachment once I get in the shins in 3 months. Right. I think that means, Jeremy, it's onto your segment of the show.
Do we have
to tell us all about how terrible or amazing the game is?
Sure. I believe you went through things real briefly last week, but I'm going to just look at the last 2 weeks as a whole because it gives us a pretty good idea of where the game is at. Also because it punts Deathwatch from first to second from the bottom, I think. There were 2 players at Deathwatch this weekend that did really, really well. Don't mind me. My chair got stuck.
Jeremy, you're the only one who knows the numbers. You're the magic man. We can't contribute in this segment.
I know. My camera just died.
Okay, Deathwatch are really cool. I really like them.
Are.
They're very interesting. I sure can't believe.
There we go. I'm back.
There we go.
My chair ran over my camera cable, so I had to move it. Yes, I did. All right. So yeah, looking at the last 2 weeks, we are looking. I'm going to start at the bottom because it's always fun to start down there and make Anthony sad. The worst army in the game right now, with 17 players, just over 1% of the meta, and a 39.6% win rate, is
World Eaters. Damn.
It's fine. Not attached to them anymore. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
Second from the bottom with 28 players, and they had no top 4s and no event wins, obviously. Thousand Suns with 28 players, 1.7% of the meta, a 41.5% win rate. No event wins, 1 top 4, so they did manage a 0.69 over rep.
Nice.
And then we've got the Tau Empire, which we were just talking about.
Dude,
58 players, 3.6% of the meta, a 42.4% win rate, no event wins, 2 top 4s. And then rounding out the bottom, we've got a pair of Armored Brethren, Blood Angels, 66 players, 4.1% of the meta, a 43.7% win rate, no event wins, 1 top 4, and a 0.29 over rep. And then at the very end of it, Space Marines clearly suffering from the nerf that they copped, even though it was barely anything. 129 players, 8% of the meta, a 44.9% win rate. However, they still won 2 events and had 4 top 4s. So they managed
Godspeed
0.6 over
players. You truly are just worst.
Just keep doing it, Space Marine players. This is wonderful. I'm sure Gilliman will never get fixed at this rate.
I don't understand. I don't have to understand. I just have to benefit.
We can try, but we both know. Honorable mention to sisters who have managed to actually drag themselves kicking and screaming into 45.6% win rate.
Hell yeah. Balanced army now, guys.
All right. We have 5 armies in the top 5. Anyone want to guess what they are? We
Imperial
already know
Knight,
one of them is. I'm not even going to let you guess Orks.
Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights,
Imperial Knights,
Eldar.
yes. Chaos Knights, no.
Oh, thank God. Eldar, Custodes.
Eldar, yes.
Orcs.
Custodes, no.
Orcs.
I already said Orks. You're not allowed to guess that.
Damn it. Orcs again. A second
No.
Orcs.
No, still not Orcs.
Yeah,
More
the sustained
DACA with
hit,
no
the second
exclamation
sustained
point.
hits.
Chaos
What
Marines?
other army? Votan. It's never Votan.
Definitely not
Militarum.
Votan. Votan continued to be the most average army in the game, and I love it.
Astra Militarum.
No, actually.
World Eaters.
No.
Chaos
All right, I'm
Marines.
going to spare you a thing. The other two are
Just
the
gonna put
armies
them
that
all
you
up.
play in. It's Eldari and Genestealer cults.
Oh,
I said Eldar.
No, you didn't. Oh, no. Sorry. Yes, you did. The other one is the one that we refuse to acknowledge exists, which is Space Wolves.
Pistols aren't an army, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad Gene Cycles are doing well, though. That's cool.
Yep. So Genestealer cults are number 5, 43 players, 2.7% of the meta. They're actually starting to kind of climb up there again. 53.4% win rate. No event wins, but they did manage 4 top 4, so they have a 1.79 over rep. After that, we've got Eldari, 117 players, 7.2% of the meta. They are the most played army right now, aside
Except
from
Space
Space Marines, because Space Marines. 53.8% win rate, 3 event wins, 9 top 4s, and a 1.48 over rep.
Look,
And then
it's not as bad as it has been. It's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
We should look at the detachment win rate for.
Oh, we're going to look at the detachment win rates because there is the usual what the fuck in there. Imperial Knights, 66 players, 4.1% of the meta, a 54.3% win rate. No event wins and only 2 top 4s, so a 0.58. They remain that gatekeeper army that sometimes converts.
Got one of those top 4s.
nice.
Yep. Space Wolves, 25 players, 1.5% of the meta, a 55.7% win rate, 2 event wins, and 4 top 4s for a 3.07 over rep.
Nerf Space Wolves.
No, don't worry, their codex will do that apparently. Because I was talking to one of the Space Wolves players in my local chat was like, they said there's 20 data sheets in there. There's 37 Space Wolves data sheets right now. What are we losing?
I'm having the best day right now. I bought 6 Thunderwolves specifically so they get removed because I own them. Everything I touch turns to legends. So that if I buy them, they'll definitely go.
Oh, I love that. And of course, rounding up the top, we have Orks. 100 players over the last 2 weeks, a 6.2% meta rep, a 60.4% win rate, 6 event wins, 15 top 4s, and a 2.88 over rep.
And that's with the Orc player base, which we all know is.
Yeah. By the way, someone earlier in
notoriously
chat, Ben,
casual at all costs.
was commenting that they were 53% this weekend. No, they were 55.6% this weekend, and they still had 2 event wins.
I'm willing to bet the 53% was Meta Monday stats with Mirror not removed.
Probably.
That sounds reasonable.
But also, like, let's go look at the detachment win rates. By the way, Votan, I wasn't joking when I said they continue their thing of being the middle army. 43 players, 2.7% of the meta, 49% win rate, 2 top 4s for a 0.89 over rep. Just sit right there. Don't need to go up, don't need to go down.
We all have our
vibing.
prisons.
I'll go back to my cage, my Votan cage after this weekend. All right. Let's look at detachment rates. Well, let's start with Eldari. Devoted to Yniad over the last 2 weeks. Makes me angry. 62.4% win rate, 40 players.
What a stupid army.
Unfortunately, this particular number includes the mirror, so it's probably will actually be higher.
What a stupid fucking army.
Because that made up a third of all Eldar players. Whereas Aspect Host with 34 players had exactly a 50% win rate, so perfectly balanced.
Aspect Host is fine. It's what I'm saying. Like, you need to nerf Yunari's rules, not really Eldar data sheets.
Yeah, like all of the other Eldar detachments are hovering around 50. Some of them are below that. You have the very brave people that are playing Spirit Conclave and managing a 45% win rate.
Good for them.
Guard, Bridgehead is dead. No one is playing it. Congratulations. We did it, Reddit. And then Combined Arms and Hammer of the Emperor both sitting at like 50-ish%. Guard and a whole are 48.9. Like, what they did at Bridgehead basically put the army into a perfectly fair range, which is good.
Good. I think they could maybe give Bridgehead that strat that they made 2 CP back to 1 CP.
Probably, because I don't think it was...
No one was using that stratagem.
Not anymore.
All right, what's up next?
Demons. This is actually a really fun one. Demons are sitting at a 53% win rate right now, but Shadow Legion, which made up 33 of their 93 players for the last 2 weeks, had a 58% win rate. Might need to keep an eye on that army.
Is the Bloodthirster with the Warp Talon rule better than Warp Talons were? We'll find out.
You tell me.
Yeah, it is.
Damn, Anthony. I can't believe you would spoil our big ticket item like that.
Yeah, well,
especially when he has access to Lance and +1 AP.
Yeah.
Strats you frequently need on your strength 14 swings.
Chaos Cult apparently is back. 3 players, 80% win rate over the last 2 weeks.
Showing that, as always, no one knows how to play against Horde armies, just ever.
It's very true. Yeah, I'm gonna put a real quick shout out to the 2 players who managed a 72% win rate this weekend with Unforgiven Task Force.
Good for them.
I need to go look at those lists apparently because I
need to go look at those rules. Honestly, you could at gunpoint ask me what they do, and I'd be like, something with picking objectives.
Yeah, I can't even remember anymore.
They have the when you charge me, I'm -1 damage strat.
It's -1 to wound now.
Oh, is it?
That got changed. Yeah, it's a lot worse.
It was so much better when it was -1 damage.
Yeah, you got to go into First Company Task Force for the -1 damage when charged strat now,
which is just so much pain.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
All right. Oh yeah, that floof just reminded me. Gene Steel Occults. Right now, Host of Ascension, 17 players, a 62.5% win rate.
Those nerfs are totally unnecessary.
Final
Day with a similar number of losses, but half the wins at 48% win rate.
Dude, Final Day is not even that good.
Final Days,
it's fun.
The fairest Warhammer you can play with gargoyles.
Yeah, and probably the fairest Warhammer you can play with GSC too.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, Imperial Knights, they only had one person to play Questor Forge Pack, so 65 of them were playing Noble Ants, so there's no real skew there. The last fun one we're just going to talk about right now, Orks, 100 players, 68 of them, so exactly 68% of them were playing Mordaka, and they had a 63.4% win rate over the last 2 weeks. And that, again,
high.
as I mentioned with the Eldar number, includes Orc mirrors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Seth, no. The Mordaka win rate is higher than Yunari.
As it should be. It's a stronger army.
It's the best army in the game.
It's definitely a simpler army to play.
I don't actually think that's broadly that true. I think to play Mordaka to the I'm just not going to lose any games level is basically the same as playing Yunari well.
Yep, that's probably fair.
Maybe.
There's a lot of you are still playing a fairly squishy Orc army in Mordaka. That if you just let people activate at you too much, you just kind of die.
Most of those Orc data sheets that are in a Mordaka list are squishier than a given aspect warrior squad.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, they don't have a 3-up. They don't have a 5-up invuln. They do once.
But they're T5 and 2 wounds as opposed to T3 and 1 wound.
Most of them are not T5 and 2 wounds. Most of them are Ludos, which are T5 and 1 wound. And T5 1 wound T-shirt save is less durable than an aspect warrior. See, you let the Eldar Union get to you, Jeremy.
It's also cheaper.
Gotcha.
How much is 5 Fire Warriors 110 points? 10 Ludas is 100 points.
Yeah, but the Ludas do dick all by themselves, right? Whereas the dragons just go up and blow you to smithereens.
It's wild how
5 Fire Dragons couldn't kill a Vindicator. 10 Ludas did kill a Vindicator.
That sounds like a skill issue.
Yeah, one of them spiking makes one of them not better. I don't know.
Yeah. When the Fire Dragon's low roll, the Luta's high rolling looks good. Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do want to point out a couple interesting things that I've been looking at recently. One is point differential for armies. Most of the time when you have an army that's doing quite well, you can look at what the difference between their points scored on average and their opponent's points scored on average. So typically over the last 3 years that we've been tracking stats, typically speaking, you are looking at players on both sides will score on average 69 to 71 points. Right now we're sitting at 71 points for everyone. Brian, Warhorde, it doesn't exist. It is 50.6% win rate. It is almost exactly bang on. They had one more win than they did losses and draws. But anyway, so when you look at an army that's doing exceptionally well or exceptionally poorly, it's being played a lot, you can very quickly kind of get an idea of where it's going to settle down. So, for example, Mordaka. They, on average, score 76 points. So 5 points more than average. But their opponents score on average 65 points, which is 6 points below average. So there's like an 11 to 12 point swing in there. Yunari does the same thing. Yunari actually does it. Sorry, Devoted of Yuniad. They do it to a similar level. There is an 8-point swing in there. One of the interesting things to look at is then you have things like Ghosts of the Webway, which on average scores 64 points while their opponents score 75. And they have a 40% win rate.
Brutal.
Because they're not very good.
No, they're really not. Yeah, so just kind of interesting looking at that. And you can see that not just in win rate, but also in like score differential, that these things are coming out at quite a large number, but it is still possible to score against these armies. I think the worst that I've ever seen was Release Harlequins 3 years ago, where it was something like a 25-point average spread. You just couldn't score against them.
Sounds about right.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, the mandatory World Eaters, which one is bringing down their win rate? Berserker Warband, 49.5%. Vessels of Wrath, 51.7%.
Vessels of Wrath is the objectively better detachment, and lots of people should play it specifically at the BFS Teams tournament.
Please do. Host of Ascension, it is only a 2-point difference, despite being a 62% win rate, as Floof just asked.
When Host loses, it can lose quite hard, which definitely does help.
I also feel like Host kind of struggles to blow armies out sometimes.
Yeah, and everybody matrixing for Toronto should definitely keep in mind that my army doesn't really get big wins.
It's true. And it scores
Especially
like 70 points a game.
elves. Write that down.
Especially against Elves and Space Marine Gladius. Very bad, very fair Space Marines.
Space Marines need 30 CP just to score 30 points.
Exactly.
All right. That's about all I got for stats right now. Aside from just, I've had to add Chaos Space Marines as an ally option now because, one, people are actually running the Chaos Knight variant, and now Shadow Legion gets to take.
Let's go, Mike.
Yeah. That's where we're sitting right now. The meta looks... Get rid of Mordaka and Yunari, and the meta actually looks really good.
Yeah,
I
but
still
it's
can't
in a decent
believe
spot.
they didn't nerf Yunari in the day of slate.
That was a big miss there.
Yeah. I think the amount of nerfing that Ultramarines got was actually totally fine. In the slate.
No, that was also definitely not fun at all.
I think it's totally fine. I think they're not even the best army in the game. I think they're not even in the top fucking 3 right now. So it's fine. Top 3? Yeah, it's not in the top 3. I had to think about that for a second, but it's not. It's like barely in the top 5.
Okay. Just want Adepticon. Anthony, do you want to talk about Adepticon?
Oh,
yeah. Let's talk about
in
Adepticon.
heaven. What a god awful garbage setup. Jesus fucking Christ. If
All
you're
right.
going to have the audacity
Where do
to
we
call
want to
yourself
start and put context on all this?
Wherever he wants to. I want
All
this
right,
to be
because
his
I've got
If-
my thoughts as well as
if
an
if
event
you're going to
runner.
have the fucking audacity to call yourself a super major or even a GT, let's go with GT, you should at least have the grace to look at your phone for a text from a player that tells you they're going to be fucking late. Use your goddamn eyeballs, Adepticon. Holy mother of fuck. Now, granted, this tournament's never been worth going to in the time that I've played 40K. A long time ago, this tournament started a big argument between us about the stats and how we take them and what's worth including and what's not. That was like a big deal in the behind-the-scenes land, because this tournament is so bad that I argue it should not be included in the stats and should only stand on the merits of its legs as a event that exists for the narrative purpose that it tells you it's there for. Its team event looks great. As a con, crushing it. All that shit, probably super fun. As a GT, though, fucking embarrassing. insert gif of the coach from Letterkenny punting a garbage can into the other room. Um,
Anthony, not to direct your rage, but would you care to tell us what happened?
all right. So, look, I wasn't there. I'm going to lead with that. My understanding of what had happened was that some players made a top cut. Most of those players made the time to come down the following day. One of them was running a little behind. Texted the organizers, was like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late. So, in that scenario, I think any like vaguely reasonable person would just be like, bet, run the pairings, ship them off to the side. If you're super pressed about time, fucking start his clock. Maybe it gets crazy. You just, they lose a bunch of their time, and you fucking move on with your life. Instead, they just fucking cut this man. They just remove him from existence. They're just, bam, no, gone. Drop him from the tournament, which is insane. If you're going to make people play 4 rounds in a day, followed by 4 rounds in a day, so that they can play 1 round at fucking 10 p.m. the following day, terrible format from the jump. But to cut one of your people that decided to take a chance on this and still made top cut, what are we doing? What a terrible treatment of someone that paid to be at your thing. Embarrassing and bad. I don't really have anything else to add other than that was fucking pathetic, and it seems broadly the way that a lot of the top cut stuff was handled was a complete embarrassment, and no one should ever take this event seriously from a competitive perspective.
And also, who runs 8 games in 2 days and then a final over 24 hours later?
Yes.
Yeah, like why? No, like I heard about what happened to the player that got dropped the day that it happened, and I was like, this is bullshit. This shouldn't happen. I'm gonna be very clear right now. It was our friend TJ. TJ's coming up to play with us this weekend, and it's just bullshit. Like, this kind of shit shouldn't happen. Any reasonable organizer would be like, oh yeah, so you're running a couple minutes late. Especially since he wasn't even, from what I was told, he wasn't even late for the round. He was late to check in for the round.
Which, like, I get it. I get that you've got to have a cut at some point, but also, like, 5 minutes? Come on, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You don't. If he texts you and tells you he's coming, that's fucking him checking in. He checked in with you.
He is on his way, and like Anthony even suggested,
start his clock.
Exactly.
Go nuts.
Yeah, Red Room also points out that the finals won impossible to watch, and
Well, that's just Games Workshop streams, baby.
No, because it was also like they were running with 2.5-hour rounds.
I think it was 2:45 was the actual round time, and then once they were set up, it was an hour 30. It was an hour 15 each.
Sure. So it's 2.5 hours to play the game.
Yep.
And they were playing Burden of Trust,
which is wild. From what I understand as well, the semifinals was supply drop.
Sure. I mean,
all right.
Look, this is very like you went to Adepticon, you played the singles. This is like maximum go to the circus, get clowns. Like this is what you signed up for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is like going to LVO and being like, the train's not very good. I don't know what happened. Like, yeah, of course. That's what you fucking signed up for.
Which is funny because that's actually no longer as much of a problem.
I bet your ass if you play on table 840, it is.
It's still a problem, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like It's a joke of an event, and it continues to be I will include it in the stats because games were played, and they were technically played on GW terrain, and they were technically GW missions, but
I don't know. I think they should just give up and include like a narrative score that you have to like submit with your army, and that's like 50% of your battle points for the game.
Yeah, you get a narrative score, an early score, an on-time score, a paint score.
Yeah, and knowing them, they then put it in backwards or apply some kind of formula where it gets read backwards.
Look, I'm
because
sure
apparently that may have happened at the team event as well.
Yep. Apparently they announced the wrong winner at the teams. This place is just a shit show. It's a bad event. People shouldn't go for the event. You can just do something else. I'm sure the con's dope. Go to the con. The con's probably sick. But maybe don't waste your fucking time doing whatever the fuck this was. I don't know. I hope that people learn their lessons from this and just don't waste their fucking time with it in the future. It's been bad
One-
literally every year since I've started. I've never once, like, since I've started, like, heard someone come out of Adepticon and be like, dude, that was fucking awesome. Can't wait to go back.
The
Like, that's
NOS
never happened.
aren't the NOS aren't a final. Is the only time it's been fun to watch.
That was
one was
fun
a lot
me.
of fun to watch. That was 2 years ago?
2, 3, yeah.
No,
wasn't
3
it?
years ago was the Harlequins.
Oh, 3 years. 3 years
mess.
ago was it was Harlequins, wasn't it?
Oh,
With
so it was.
Robo.
Yeah.
It was like 5 Harlequins in the top 8, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Whereas in a much more interesting game, we got to watch Nos and
we got to
Arna
watch
just
NOS
kind of
kill
roll
like
off to decide who won.
Yeah.
yeah, we got to watch Arna kill like 1,000 points of guard on turn 1 and then still lose half his army back.
Great game. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh man, Votan were a thing. Great Arthurian League.
That
back
was fun.
in
And
the
yes, Corey,
day.
the haircut is on its way. I've just, like I said, work's been going crazy. So
Jeremy's
finding
just
the-
really trying to make sure he's got the like Lego minifigure hair going. It's a good look. Yeah. So for the one, there was no finals at South Coast. Technically, there was 2 undefeated players at 7-0 at South Coast. There was a winner, but there were 2 undefeateds. Yeah.
I think
I don't
But
think
that's
that's a bad
fine.
thing necessarily.
the UKTC has done a really good job of like onboarding feedback and continuing to adapt as time
Yep.
goes on. They're usually pretty good
Now
about
they
that.
have, yes.
I mean, they've been good about that since like most of the time, is my understanding.
I think this is the first time that they've basically felt like they consistently have 8 people at every event to make it worth
Yeah.
running 2 pods. The events have hit the big enough number now that it just feels like they have to include that now. So yeah, no, shout out to the UKTC event for doing a really good job with that. Right, what's next on our topic list?
Team event?
Team event tomorrow next weekend. What's our team taking?
All right. So our team, this started out of Dan, one of the co-owner of the Red Dragon, wanting to play on a team event with Scary and Innis, and then me having nothing to do this weekend, so going, hey, I'll come along.
You
And then Dan
recruited me.
going,
I wasn't on that team already. You recruited me.
I thought he recruited you.
No, you recruited me.
I thought he recruited you.
Nope, you did.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, my bad. Look, I don't remember how this happened aside from oops.
You put
Yeah.
a message in the stat check backstage chat that was like, "Hey, does anybody want to come to Toronto?" And I looked at the flight price and was like, fuck it, might as well."
Right. Yes, that is how it happened. Yeah. So Dan had reached out to me. I was like, sure. And then after I grabbed Innis, he's like, do you want to find the rest of the team? I went, sure, why not? So I grabbed TJ, Jack Harpster, our friend Alice, and Riley Tremblay from Team Canada. So we're heading down there, and our goal is to win it all because it'll be fun if we do. There are 11 other teams attending. I'd say the top 3 favorites would be us, Blunt Force, and Stutter Scrub. In terms of team strength, for us, Innis is playing Yanari.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're playing
Oh, no.
Yanari all weekend long.
Oh, I'm playing against Yunari.
Yeah.
That I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am playing Host of Ascension Gene Star Cults. I
Yeah.
will be pairing into Yunari.
You are every Yanari's punishment for playing that army.
They'll all deserve it.
They will. I'm playing Marines because I'm boring this weekend. Mainly because I got taken out of my Votan box by Riley, who is playing Tim's Votan.
Fucking damn it, Riley.
What? He had
Have a
so much
system.
excitement about that army that I went, you can have it.
It's fine.
I don't need more Votan reps right now. I haven't played as many as Tim, but I've still played a lot.
Riley took out your box. We'll have to tell Riley off at the weekend.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, if we do badly at BFS, you can blame him. Dan is going to be our actual Yunari player. Alice is on Plague Storm Death Card. I can't remember what she named her list, but I think she came up with a better name for it.
It's Plague Storm. Like it's always going to be Plague Storm.
Yeah.
I don't care what you
Skari
came up
is
with.
playing Double Bomber Drukari because it just traumatizes people at this point.
That's good.
Then we have
It's a
Jack
true
on
power.
World
It's a real
Eaters.
power move.
It's a ton of fun. Jack on World Eaters and TJ on Shadow Legion.
Makes sense.
It's gonna be a mess. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
more
great.
more importantly, I fly to Canada on Thursday, and I get a whole Friday and most of a Monday in Canada, which is gonna be nice as well. I know,
pity you're
right?
gonna be in the GTA.
I'm going to a tournament in a different country, and I'm not flying out the day before and home the day after. It's like I'm actually doing like one whole day of being in the city. It's gonna be crazy.
love it.
I almost, it's ridiculous. No, it's gonna be really good fun. It'll be my first event in Canada. I will say this for anybody who's considering going an event overseas: applying for an ETA for Canada was significantly easier than applying for an ETSTA for America.
I can't
And that
imagine
was
why.
that was before the last 6 months happened. Like even when I did the 2 years ago, it was more expensive and it took longer. So Canada seems like an appealing option. Also, for anyone in Scotland, it's a direct flight from Edinburgh. That was not bad. That was not bad to see. I was like, it's 1 7-hour flight. So I leave at
that's
9
actually-
a.m.
You're now
I-
tempting me to visit Edinburgh.
I leave at 9 a.m. and I land at 11 a.m. It's great.
Beautiful.
Going that direction is significantly easier.
It's so much fun. So, and then my flight's back to me. My flight's at like 20 to 8 at night and I land at 7 a.m. So I'm just like,
Beautiful.
so sleep on the flight and go about my day, get home, have a nap, probably have a normal evening. It's going to be good fun.
That was one of the reasons I liked Mechlin so much, because it was the same thing. It was direct flight there, direct flight back, sleep on the way back, stay up late on the way there, so that we could crack.
But what I'm hearing, Jeremy, is that I can get you to come over for an event in Scotland sometime now. Because
You
you've heard that it's very
probably
fun.
can. One, because I'm actually working. Unfortunately, it also means I have almost no time off.
Look, we can figure that out.
Details.
It doesn't have to be soon, but just that I can make it happen now.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I'm already
Cool.
going to Nottingham in September, so
I should make some time to go to Nottingham in September.
you should.
All right.
Yeah, no,
We
I'm
have-
really looking forward to it. Everyone on the team's super looking forward to it.
And we have a hot tub again, which
We have a
is-
hot tub. It's amazing. Dan coordinated the Airbnb for us, and like the very top one, the top one was very much
hot
like
tub,
need
hot tub
was
and barbecue.
hot tub and then barbecue. Everything after that was, do we have enough beds?
Upside.
Probably.
Yeah.
We have enough room? Maybe.
Do we have a card table to play Magic? Must have.
Okay.
Dan and I were coordinating that.
Ben, did I end up hosting a bunch of Canadians in Innis for LVO in October? No.
And I'm not saying no. I
that's
can
the same
probably be
weekend
convinced.
as
It's the weekend after
it's the
Champs
weekend
Cup.
after. Oh,
So I was speaking to Dan yesterday, and we were looking at just hiring a car and driving to Vegas afterwards.
Utah to Vegas. That would be fun.
So
Damn it.
it's like a 7-hour drive.
That's actually not that bad.
Yeah, like I could be convinced. I'm just saying it will not be hard to convince me to do that.
Maybe the time off would probably kill it, but that would be a lot of fun.
You just got to convince your work to let you work from home for 4 days.
I do work remote a couple days a week, but I would not be allowed to work in the States.
That is probably also fair. Fly home, fly back out. It'll be fine.
God. I'm sure that will be a great idea. But yeah,
That seems
no,
challenging.
it's gonna be a ton of fun.
I'll just work from home the entire time. It'll be very easy for me. So
work from home.
I know, right? Me and my not real job.
You're working right now, you fuck.
I know it's great. Technically not. We don't actually get paid for this technically, right? So it's not really work. It's more advertising.
Something like that.
All right. We had another couple of things on our topic list. Let's have a quick look. Why are more DACA players so terrible? Is the only other thing I have on our topics list.
Look, I think there's no right way to say this. Like it is challenging to get more DACA to the point where it's like the actual full shutout. Like the opponent gets no agency, can't do anything, just loses, right? That's like a fairly narrow band of player skill, and you need the right tools in the list, which a lot of the ones at Adepticon didn't have commandos, which shuts down
Trolling, actually trolling.
Yeah, which shuts down one of the like the hey, you actually can't play the game, it doesn't matter avenues.
I will share
right?
with you, there was a very hilarious moment at the GT, not this weekend, but the weekend before that I was at, where Will Paul played into Nick Jagello, who's one of the better guard players in Canada, probably second to John Winter. And
The Zach Como erasure, dude. Unfair.
look, Jagello they both have gorgeous armies, so I can't even say Jagello's a better painter than him. I was about
Just
to say that,
the
but
double
no, actually, because
Zach
Zach has that
slams,
gorgeous
dude.
yellow army, and then Jagello
Didn't
has like a
Zach win
gorgeous
that
converted
tournament?
one. Look, it's up in the air right now. We'll see how Zach does at the team event.
Well,
this
but
weekend.
if Zach won that tournament or not, it's up in the air.
Yeah,
he
they
won
go
the tournament,
back.
sure. He
They
beat
go back
Will.
and take
Yeah.
it off him.
Yeah, it's actually it's up in the air. If you don't do better than him at the team event, you don't get it.
Yeah, him and Jagello get to compete for the best guard player there. We'll ignore the fact that John was also at that tournament and also lost. So,
Oh God.
but anyways, will force Jagello to score a grand total of 8 points all game because he went first on Search and Destroy on Burden and locked him in his zone, and he never left.
You don't get to play the game. Like,
Yeah.
and
Sorry,
like,
buddy, did you not bring Fly? Whoops.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a certain amount of like, if you have that and you know the play patterns, get it all right, and you don't get shot back, and you set it up, and the wall actually kills all of your opponent's stuff, and they're jailed while it happens. You know, that's when DACA becomes like the true oppressive thing that it is, right? Rather than like just a good gun line. Like if it was just like they shoot at you and then you die, it would be like, well, lots of things do that. That's not fucking new. We know how to deal with that. That's fucking playing 10th edition, baby. Like, you know, but like the thing that makes DACA the like no actual bad matchups in the hands of a good player, you will not beat it first, second, indifferent, is the board positional control that it can put on someone. And without that, it's not the same thing.
You got to be at least pretty good to make it really work.
Yeah, and it's also one of the reasons why one of the changes that we've been advocating for in that is to make the wall strat 2 CP. Because it means you can't just, if you have the Zod Guard brick, lock someone in their zone with no cost effectively.
I actually don't think that matters at all as long as they're taking commandos.
It slows it.
It makes you feel better. That's all it does. It makes you go, oh, man. And that's kind of it. Because they're going first. They're going to use the commandos instead of the Zod brick. And then
I don't really care about commandos.
Oh, you will. They just make you unable to move, right? It's the same thing.
No, it's a
smaller frontage.
It's a much smaller front. It's a lot easier to clear 10 commandos than it is to clear 20 Gretchen with Zodgrod.
So I've not seen people largely have a problem with clearing the brick. You can get rid of Zod's little idiots. It's like, oh, I win them on 3s. Oh, no. And then they die. The problem is having to do it twice is usually where it becomes like oh, you can't touch a midfield objective till turn 3 at the soonest is where the army goes off the rails. But yeah, I don't think that strat should be 1 CP because it's stupid. It's too many benefits for it to be 1 CP. I just don't think it fixes the Zod problem just like basically at all.
I think it makes it go away entirely.
Oh, that's not true. He just does it on turn 2 when he has 2 CP. Who gives a shit?
Well, by turn 2 you've actually gotten board position.
2 CP and doesn't hit Gretchen. Let's just go all in.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
There's a couple of options, but I just like it really changes what it's doing. Yeah, Brian agrees with me. Boom. Got the green man backing me.
You mean the demons?
Okay, so Anthony's definitely wrong then. Okay.
What the fuck? If you could trust Brian about orcs, come on.
No, I can't trust Brian about anything orc balance related.
This isn't balance related. We're talking about play patterns, people.
We're talking about the impact of a balance change.
No, this is like what it would actually like how it's played now.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Cultist Chan, it wouldn't work because the strat is in the command phase and they get the CP from Gretchen at the start of their movement.
They still have the best version of that rule, but it's not because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
there's works on turn 1 going first where most don't, but it still doesn't work in the command phase.
Yeah.
Yep.
Notably, it doesn't work to give you a CP for your redraw if you're stressing about using another strat as well, orc players. It's in the command, it's in the movement phase.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, usually by turn 2 they just have more CP than they need anyways.
Of course they do. They're orc players. They've never failed a 2-up. I've seen Makari players roll. That thing that secretly has rerolls on like the Shadowfield.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, Mordaka is obviously too good. It's too good for a lot of reasons, but a big part of that like gap coverage is coming from the fact that you like don't get to move. It's not just that it's a good gun line. That's too fast.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah, obviously it having like a functionally infinite damage ceiling is bad. Duh. But
cool. Just making sure that we're on the same page with that one.
But it is like, yeah, like Brian just said, like the thing that takes it from just being like gunline fucking random man 7 in the in Taken, random thug 4, right? Random gunline 6. Instead of it being that to like fully oppressive is the fact that it can jail its opponents.
Yep, makes sense.
That's fair. I'm okay with that.
Frankly, it's the same thing with Yunari. Like, Yunari getting a million out of phase movements would be significantly less annoying if one of those things was not a 25-inch or 26-inch moving unit that was just like, hey, fuck you.
Dude, Wave Serpent's using it is so rude
That
for no
one
reason.
too. I think, honest to God, like Yunari not having access to transports, like from like even from like a rules as written or from whatever perspective, was obviously nonsense. But like, it
It
made
was
sense from a
helping. It was
balance perspective.
helping. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it was like, you can do it on Venoms, go for it,
All
buddy.
right, fine.
Like, yeah, it's 5. Yeah, I was very high on that data sheet when I couldn't have Wave Serpents. Since I got Wave Serpents, I've stopped running it.
Yeah, when you get to lethal intent 3 things, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I feel like we've missed the what this was supposed to be.
Lethal Intenting 3 things into your opponent so they charge you to give you the objective and also put the incarn on them. That's fun too.
Bad stuff.
Please no.
Bad news down the line. Just a lot of bad things happen.
I'm looking forward to BFS.
Yeah.
Maybe both Yunari and Mordak will be fixed by then.
One can hope, dude. Yeah, I think Yunari, in a weird way, I would almost rather play against Mordaka because you're kind of just like, yeah, I'm fucking dead. Whatever. At least it's quick, you know? You get blitzed, you get jailed, you get murdered. And you're like, unlucky. You know? They overtuned that. Whoops. And then you move on. But Yunari gives you this illusion, this shell game based illusion that you're kind of in this game. You look, you're killing stuff. Stuff's happening. And then you're like, oh, surprise. No, you were never in this game. I get 100. Fuck you. And then you're like, all right, well, fair enough.
Oh, okay then. I guess that's what happens to me today.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Look, it's perfectly reasonable. I think it's actually okay, and I think it's honestly your fault.
There it is. He's learning.
Yeah. My army's not broken, and if it is, it's not my fault. And if it is my fault, then it's your problem.
Yeah, correct.
Horrible.
Okay. Shall we do plugs and questions then?
Let's.
All right, guys. If you are with us an hour into the show, you're probably enjoying it at least a little bit. If you'd like to support us to make sure that we can keep doing that, you can do a couple things for us. One is to leave a like, a comment, and all the usual things on the YouTube video or on your podcast platform of choice. It helps us out with discoverability and being able to keep bringing more of you, and also making sure that we know that you guys like what we're doing, or if there's anything we can improve. I got a new mic. That's because people kept harassing me in chat. That includes Anthony. He's disappeared, but it's mostly because people kept harassing me. That is just a very true statement. If you're in a position to support us a little bit more and you would like to, you could also check out patreon.com/statcheck, or you can check out the YouTube membership program in the box below. That $5 a month or $15 a month for our higher tier that gets you a shout out on the show, gets you access to our Discord, gets you access to the Vibe Check League, gets you a discount code for the Red Dragon, who are our primary sponsor, as well as the ability to chat with us basically all hours of the day, because one of us is active basically whenever you want. We are all psychopaths who are far too online. We created this because we had run out of people to bother in our own lives, and we needed more people online to talk to. And then we have created a community of people who also needed that, and there we go. Now we're going, and we're two and a bit years in, and it continues in kind. You can also check out all of our sponsors. That is Red Dragon, Will and Yutani, J15 Games, and Saltar Games. All their links in the description. For Red Dragon, you can check them out at red-dragon.ca. You can find a discount code on the Patreon membership, and that'll get you access to an incredible store in Canada, in Ottawa specifically, for games, models, cards, board games, all that sort of thing, as well as all of the StatCheck merchandise. You can find our dice, our tokens, our metal coins, and CP trackers, and all that kind of stuff. You can find that on there. You can check out J15 Games at their link in the description below. That'll get you access to widgets and GW terrain based out of the United States. You can check out Saltar Games on their website, which will get you the same kinds of things in the UK. And you can check out Will and Yutani for WTC official terrain, and as well as various mats and things like that based out of the EU. We are pretty close to having our shirts sorted. That'll be coming soon. Watch this space. Anthony knows more about that than I do, but it's feeling good. We're pretty close, right?
Yeah. Allegedly, we're pretty close. We'll see.
Allegedly, we're pretty close. Brian has a thing that I'm going to respond to in a minute. You can also check out coaching at stat-check.com/coaching or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you'd like to work with either myself, Nassim Fushane, Liam VSL, Lucas Troller, Nicholas Olsen Johnson, Tyler Wortell, or Pumbaa. You can check that out. We'd be more than happy to work with you on anything. There is a new drop-down form that's been doing much better since we figured out how to respond to it and have it actually go through people's spam filters. So things have been going strength to strength. We should have a price list going up on the website sometime in the next week or so. Again, we are in the process of updating that, but in the meantime, just message us and we will be able to give you a hand with that. Lastly, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network. That is End of the Matrix, X and One, Take All Comers, and Champions of 40K on youtube.com/statcheck, as well as seeing us live every week at 11 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday, here to talk about all manner of bullshit and nonsense and answer your questions. I hope everybody is doing well with that.
And just as a quick heads up for anyone who has been missing the podcast version of the show, we are in the middle of transitioning our editing over. I've basically had to stop doing it because work has been so busy. And so the apologies to everyone for the last few weeks of us not having it. We should have everything back up and running in the next few days or week at the latest.
I would agree. It is a very good thing to have going on. I'm going to shout out quickly one quick question from Brian, which is integrating the Discord can need entertainment while it's also Marvel Snap played the turn. One, that's not how Marvel Snap works, just to make sure you know, and I want you to know that. And also, I stopped playing Marvel Snap like 6 months ago because I missed my dailies once and immediately dropped it.
The hyper focus was gone.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, cool. No, I didn't need that. I missed it for a day at LVO, and it was just like, yep, cool. Or
the engage on all fronts comment really got me there. That shit was funny.
Well,
discount prices for Nassim Custodes coaching.
Because he got beat up the other day.
Who beat him?
Josie just kicked the absolute piss out of him. Just
what, a 20-0?
Crushed his shit. Yeah.
Well done, Josie.
Yeah. Nothing a melee mirror, dude. Not the dream.
Nas insists he knows how the fight phase works. I don't believe
I am sure he's used a pile in on accident, moving his guard onto objectives.
He used to play Bulgarian, but it was more the threat of the combat phase that kept his opponents.
Yeah.
It was like, I have Bulgarian, I could charge you, and he's like, do you know how to? And it's like, no.
And he's like, yeah, you do that in the fight phase, right? And you're like, oh god.
All right. So we're going to move on to the questions part of the show. As always, there are 3 good ways to get your question answered on the show. One is to just ask a really good question that we decide we want to answer. The second is to be in the Patreon or YouTube membership Discord and ask the question in the show questions every week. And the third is to leave a super chat on the YouTube live stream, at which point we'll get to you. So we're going to start off with those, and then we'll dive into the questions from the show. If you want to ask one, get a super chat, get it in the show thread now, and we'll do our best to get to it before we finish up. But the time zones did change again, which means that it's after midnight again for me, and I would really like to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Right.
So kick us
Let's
off.
rumble through them then.
Dan. So
Mr.
the world's go for it, Jeremy. I don't want to take your job.
The world's not ending. Everything is balanced. TJ and drama, nothing new. Orcs are balanced. Just bust out new tools to make hammerless. It'll all be okay. Also, love you, Violence and Curie. Happy as fuck.
Dan said,
happy April Fool. Fuck.
No. I think happy as fuck is probably better here.
I'll take that better.
Yeah.
The world's not ending. Nothing's balanced. TJ is drama. Many things new. Orcs are awful. Bust out new tools to make nail lists so the orc can beat you to keep the win rate high so they get nerfed harder. That's what's important.
It's true.
I really like that he just left Innis out of the love you message. He was just
That's
like,
fine.
I don't think he's ever met Innis, whereas he knows both of us better.
Yeah.
Either way, we love you, Innis.
That's
all right.
Unimportant.
We got to rest this. Thank you for the €6.
Is that this week? Oh yeah.
Now that Anthony showed me the way, it's hard to stop pushing. Big thanks to him and Alpine for banning DACA.
Woo!
Definitely shout out to Alpine for keeping the discussion going about whether tournaments should ban detachments or armies.
That's good.
It's been a fun one.
I think that was technically from like the end of last week. It like happened as we finished.
Okay. That's why it got started. Yeah.
All right. Next we have from Kiara Quintero. Best lines detachment build. Still what you said. Broadly, we spoke about this a bunch on the show last week. Go check out either Dan Garnasia's list or Josh Roberts' list from the terribly named RTT that Anthony ran, or from Goonhammer Open, and you will probably have a decent direction on Custodes lists. You basically just pick if you want Caladiuses or Bikes, and then go from there.
I like Bikes better.
And then play 15 Wardens because you're not a psychopath, or 14 Wardens.
I mean, a bike squad is good. Singular.
Agreed. I'm glad we could cyberbully Dad into giving us more money for feeling bad, but maybe we shouldn't make a habit of that.
We love you, Daniel. Thank you for the $5. Innes and I have never really talked, but I love him. Just know the two other boys better.
Dan, you have a really good surname. I approve of it. So
That's true. He does.
He's a super
it's a
chill
good
guy too.
surname.
Yet to meet him in person, which I hope to sometime this year. Right?
Maybe.
Maybe at BFS, dude.
It's true. All right, and then we've got Ben McYork. Want to buy Streets playmat with a stretch goal Streets terrain. Where can I get this? We can probably talk to Dan again. Life got the best of us when it came to getting that commissioned and done.
Getting the art design on that is actually a lot more work than you would think it is because of the amount of references it would need to contain. And frankly, I don't remember enough of the old stat check references to really make enough of that.
I don't know if we definitely necessarily put them all on there, but we could at least put like fun 40K moments on it.
I mean, it surely would have to be stat check stuff for us, right? Like it'd have to be like good stat check memes and stuff like
It'd
that.
be a
Obviously,
very limited run then, and I don't know how
it would
well
have
that...
to be. Yeah, like 7 people would care. But you know,
We'll see.
Pickles could be the little central marker, and it'd be great.
All
All right.
And I'm realizing now what happened is that last week you guys didn't untick everything that had been starred by the super chats.
Potentially.
That would do it. All right, into the actual Discord questions we go. So thank you once again for everyone who super chatted. Kicking off, as you can say, you can get your question answered if you join the Patreon Discord. The first question comes from Matt Rubens. How do you feel about the Daka versus Yanari matchup?
Well, it's Daka favored, like all the
Yeah.
matchups are. But
But
if you're greedy and list right incorrectly and make mistakes,
Yanari 20 those mistakes.
look, listen.
Or beats them by a point. One of the two.
The second most broken army, played by a better pilot with more experience against a greedy version of Daka, can, if the stars align, maybe win by 1. Boom.
Because of clockouts.
Fucking got it.
Let's go.
Yeah. You know, like if your opponent's a potato, you got a chance of being a potato farmer. But that's just Yanari, right? Like you can win any game in the world if your opponent walks on enough rakes. Eventually the brain damage does kill them.
Yeah, Yanari's good matchups are human error. That's it. Does your opponent make mistakes at all?
And not
Tau.
having Innes' sheet of what they can do in front of you.
And Tau, sure.
All right. And then any advice for beating them? I think we already went over that.
No.
Don't.
You wait.
Don't play them.
Play more Daka and go first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or bring... No, I think it is. All right. Ryan asks, how do you stay positive going into a bad or difficult matchup?
Warhammer is a game, bro.
I thank my lucky stars that every event I play is diff. And I thank my bad upbringing for making me spiteful. And I try and drag them into the shit with me so that at least if I lose, it ain't gonna be a 20.
Love it.
There is a certain joy in a challenge as well. Playing a tough matchup is fun if you're, especially if you go into it and you're like, all right, man, I know all the mistakes that you could make that you'll fuck up here. And if you make any of them, I'm going to jump. And you just sit and you wait and you just become, you must allow the game to pass over you unencumbered until you see your moment and take your moment. That mostly means don't get crazy, let it get stable, or get real crazy real fast.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation. Some games are some games you gotta play the trap spider, some games you gotta play the monkey flinging shit. And recognizing which one is the best way to be a good Warhammer player.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I agree. And sometimes just you're allowed to just have fun and lose.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy losing, you're probably gonna have a terrible time.
But yeah,
look,
I can't.
I put on a hilariously entertaining stream game, round 5 of All Is Dust, while I got thumped by Mordaka.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't handle losing well. That's why I'm good at Warhammer.
Yeah.
I emotionally can't handle losing, so I just eternally just eventually keep clawing my way.
There's a reason that Innes is never our busser.
Spite and scrap, baby.
I actually it's really weird because in teams I don't care at all as long as we win the round. I don't mind losing a game if it wins
Yeah,
the
that
team of the
doesn't
round in
matter.
that context. Like that's not at all what I care about. In singles though, I'm going down fighting. I can't play joke lists. It hurts me.
Yeah, it's real. That shit sucks.
All right. What's next?
I'm going to shout out Bubble Fart for the €5. Hear me, the
Hell yeah,
zealots of
Bubble Fart.
violence, vanilla are gathering. The new book of corn is upon us. No one can escape the coming months of blood and skulls. I really
Yeah.
hope that book is good or
in
fun.
in 8 months.
In 8 months.
Stop that. You stop that right now.
I hope it
Look,
drops the day
all I'm
after
saying is
WTC
Knights were
cutoff.
supposed to be out a little while ago, apparently, and now they're just not on anything. So
I hope it drops the day after WC cutoff, Anthony.
I hope. I don't know. I don't.
You don't have it in you to be that mean to me.
No,
Aw.
not unless you're in front of me.
it's easier to do it in person.
It's also
Yeah.
true that I don't love anything as much as you love World Eaters. So
That's not true, but that's fine. I hope Arcane gets canceled. Fuck you.
that'll be fine. It is cancelled. It was 2 seasons, so limited run show.
God damn it.
It's done.
Fuck.
No. You have to hope that they relaunch it badly.
Well, then I'll just not watch it. I don't know. I'll figure something out.
All right. Nick K has the next question with how do you approach testing for teams to build a matrix and figure out what are good and bad matchups?
Oh man, this answer is not going to be fun for anybody that has a day job.
Dude,
You
just
play
gotta
them
play all the
all.
games.
Yeah.
You should have played them all, first and second, on different boards
Yep.
against
Pretty
different
much.
variants of the list, played by players of equal or better skill.
Every day is a nightmare in teams.
Your matrix is just guesswork every time.
Well, it's like,
Educated guesswork.
yeah, I mean, even educated guesswork's not true. For like WTC, you get to have a pretty adult matrix. But
Yeah, once you've had a stable meta game for 2 months and the rules stop changing, like for a month's time, so you can learn your matrix, it's pretty good.
There is a phrase in my industry that I absolutely love and hate, and I'm definitely going to pull it out here. It is called use your engineering judgment.
that seems
And when
like
it comes
a lot
to
of,
and when it comes to matrix and when it comes to building your matrix, you use your game judgment.
yeah.
Like, dude, it feels like a 7. You know, I just like in my gut.
Well,
Yeah.
The last time I played against this, my opponent got the Blood Moon roll, and I lost by 3. So I reckon I win by 2.
yeah.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly, dude, you just gotta like a lot of the armies that we've seen for a long time, you can kind of intuit off of muscle memory of, is this the kind of list that struggles with that? And unless there's specific like mechanical things that would make that different, you're usually not far off.
Yeah,
For new
I'd agree.
stuff, you kind of just got to play it. Like, I mostly know how my list's going to fare into a Marine Gladius list now when I build it, and it's not really going to be like crazy to me if it's like wildly different. Same thing with something like World Eaters, right? It's just not changed a ton in a long time, and I know if my list's going to be like good or bad against that type of play. Now, there are always micros, and that gets you a range. It gets you like, this is probably like an 11 to 15 or a 7 to 8. But it doesn't get you the exacts, and you need to play it a little bit to get the vibe of it. But you can ballpark it, right? It depends how specific you need to be.
Yeah, but it's also one of these things where even when you're trying to like get it like fairly exact, we do play a dice game. There is only so much mitigation you can do. There's going to be some volatility in every matchup. So I could say like my floor on this is an 11. I could score a 15, but my floor on this is an 11. I know I won't do worse than that.
And then there's always the rakes. Does the army have a lot of rakes?
Yep.
I stepped on lots of those last night.
Play Warhorde, mark it all green, count 5 first units as a matrix color for each one. Easy peasy. Brian, you must hate Yannari.
I was gonna. Well, that doesn't even work. They fight on Death and Warhorde. That's not even true.
I know.
I can still.
You can't fight first and Vectoras, right? Surely that's the
the Vectors are the bigger one.
God damn it.
Man, that
All
must be that Bao matchup really tough, Anthony. I bet Brian agrees that that's a really hard matchup for him, right?
No, Bile into Warhorde's actually. Bile into Warhorde's alright. It's tactical into Warhorde. I mean, tactical into Bile. That's just like,
Don't
Not
like
sure.
Don't let the
context.
context really good line. All right.
That's actually true.
All right. Lucas Erickson has the next question. What is the big difference between playing for a 5 or 6 as opposed to an 8 to 10? So for those, basically, are you just scraping points or are you playing for the draw?
so playing for 5 to 6, I find it doesn't really happen. I find, in my experience, Like, I'm never like playing for a 5 to a 6. I'm like getting wrecked and hoping for a 5 to a 6, and sometimes I manage it.
Or
But
you're like in a stable matchup and it's going wrong and you're getting
yeah,
behind.
yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no. I'm just trying to, doggy.
Scramble. Yeah, you tend to scramble for a 5 and play for a 10.
Yeah,
It's a lot more of
that's right. Yeah, yeah. A 5
But
is like you didn't drown.
so
You're getting blasted just in the mouth.
in a general sense, playing for a 5 to 6 is I am taking very little agency. I am expecting to lose. I'm going to like do the minimum actions that keep you off me as long as I can while I run up the scoreboard, while accepting that I'm going to get smashed. When I'm playing for a 10, it tends to be more like, hey, I recognize that I'm not like going to try to beat you here, but also you're not doing it to me either, right? You're going to stay over there too. And it's like you both just get into that holding pattern of, I'm going to pretend to go for your objective and maybe I'll do it once. And your opponent will like, I'm going to kill your secondary units. And you just kind of like stare at each other and you're like, haha, we've committed 200 points of game activations over the last 3 turns. Would you like to stand on your objective and whoever goes second will get +5? And you both say yes and you handshake. And then playing for 5 is like, all right, man, I know that your army beats me, but I'm going to make it really, really suck for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference. Yeah. Which is why like 8 to 10 is a kind of a terrible range. 8 to 12 tends to be more because like in those games, if you're just staring at each other, man, who hits the secondary cards is going to be so much of a part of it. Who gets bottom of turn, who gets the good board, etc. So
Okay, Brother Chaplain Lewis, I very much dislike you for this question just because of how you phrased
but
it.
I like your icon. So
Thank you for the $10. The icon is wonderful. Is it possible with all the infiltrate and scout to have horny jail be a strategy for EC?
So I think if EC was a worse army, there's definitely a world where you would just be like a million tormentors, like 3x10, and stand it in front of folks, and then scout, number of infractors and rhinos divided
3
by
by 10.
points remaining at folks, and you would call it a day, right? But
Definitely 6
instead
by
they have
5.
like what?
surely we call that child jail. But
I mean, that's just jail in the States, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really know. Like, Emperor's Children's a good army, so you don't have to do that.
Why would you opt into that when you could just play Deceptors?
Yeah, true. Unironically true.
All right. Okay.
Isaac Terada, I am not asking either of your questions
Wrecked.
because both of them are about the usual thing. I will ask your second question. Assuming DACA gets hot fixed in the near future, would you take Yanari or GSC into singles?
Yanari is not a good singles army. It's too many rakes. It's too unreliable, man. I don't want to be that guy.
Whereas
like
Host
you're just gonna rock up into like an equal skill Chaos Knight player and just be like, oh man, this is awful.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
This sucks.
Shit, dude. I mean, like if you make it past round 6, you're not gonna play the Chaos Knight guy, right? So like if you get deep in the tournament, like it's a really good top 8 army. There's really bad open event army. GSC is just stupid. Fucking let's go Host of Ascension.
Dickie apparently says Old World Adepticon was good. I call bullshit on that because I know for a fact that other people complained about it. Falcon complained about it.
I believe that Dickie thought that.
Oh no! Don't do Dickie like that.
Dickie's an old man who wants to just play his Old World, be left the fuck alone. And I'm sure for that purpose, Old World at Adepticon was sick.
I bet the singles event was really good for everybody who only played 4 rounds too.
Yeah, dude, that might be true. Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah,
you played a complete random ass finals that you had no idea if it was actually gonna, if you actually got to play with your army or not.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris V8 Gang asks, why is pineapple the goat of pizza toppings?
It's pretty fucking good.
It is pretty awesome.
I'm not a huge fan of pineapple in general. The concept of it being on pizza doesn't particularly offend me, but I don't like it, so I'm not going to eat a pizza with pineapple.
Yeah, we don't have Nathan here to get mad about that. So
pepperoni and hot honey is the goat though. That combo.
But like Nathan's Chicago, right? Like he likes deep dish pizza, surely. So
well, now he's
not anymore. He's in Boston now, so it's square pizza.
No, now he's
probably
just
square
mad.
pizza. Yeah,
he's drunk and angry all the time. That's all Boston's got.
That's fair. Thanks, Brian.
Eric Quintaro and Dorian are so mad right now. I love it. Nope, I will 100% I love my pineapple pizza.
That's good.
I'm just like pepperoni or like a plain margarita pizza or like chicken.
Just your classic Canadian or super pizza is also just great.
Neither of those are flavors, Jeremy.
I never got to try the fried one. Sad about
We
that.
can arrange that next time. I can make a
Alright.
pizza crunch happen for you.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, now you're really tempting me to come to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
You
All right.
probably will get out of Edinburgh for a pizza crunch, but
Yeah.
All right. Goran asks, "What's your favorite 40k novel, and how do you feel about the Adepticon reveals?"
How are those related? My
Does it
favorite
matter?
40k novel is Echoes of Eternity because I think that's my favorite book. And what's the Adepticon reveals? Oh, dude, Slaughterbound.
I was
Fucking,
just
what
gonna
are we
say
talking
you
about?
got like the best
Yeah,
one of
the
them.
Exalted or Nine Bound.
Yeah, dude,
The Exalted or 9 pounds.
I was literally yelling. I watched this review. We watched this in the Team USA Discord, and I was like literally screaming. I like woke up Anna like in the middle of the night. Like I was fucking freaking out. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
All right, what else was there? So it's gonna cost me so much money because I play like five of the 7 armies they previewed.
Look at Upshot. You never have to worry about world leaders.
It's true. I don't play World Leaders. I do play Thousand Suns, Death Guard, and Thousand Suns, Death Guard, Grey Knights, Tyranids, and Space Wolves, though.
At least you don't play
That's true.
Admech.
You play
Yeah, no, but
Space
I still have
Wolves?
to sell like 3 sets of the Admech models because I'm gonna buy the kit 3 times for 15 Raveners. Those Ravener models are
Oh, those are sick,
Gorgeous.
yes.
glorious. I am so ready. I hope they get a new data sheet. I hope it slams. I hope it does something besides
hope
the
the,
like.
uh,
Shout out to
tiny
Sky
cute-
for pointing out to us that they said it was a bloodthirster and a dude.
Yeah, it was
so-
awesome. There's a
That is-
bloodthirster in that guy. That shit's sick.
inside you that are
Why
two
would a bloodthirster
bloodthirsters. That's
settle
too
for
many
that?
bloodthirsters.
It's because they can't maintain their fucking energy in the real space, Curie. Come on, get with the times.
That sounds pretty
Ridiculous.
lame and pretty
That-
weak ass.
The new
demons.
Grey Knight Dread Knight looks fucking awesome.
Yes, finally.
It looks so cool. I'm so ready. He's got missile nipples. Like what more could you want?
I'm not
Uh,
super stoked about that guy having 4 Meltas on one of his arms.
yeah, like
I'm a little worried about whatever
I'm
that's
not
gonna be.
jazzed about the idea of it in Warpaint Task Force.
Yeah,
Just
just
a
like
twin-linked multi-melta.
quad melting you in the face. I'm not.
It does actually say that it only includes new weapon options. It says like the.
Yeah.
I'm ready for like the Nemesis flail to be like too many goddamn attacks and everything.
I mean, it's gonna be like 12 attacks at 611, right? It's not gonna matter.
Or it'll
Yeah,
be
the only
6
thing-
attacks at like 12, 4, 3, sustain 2.
No, that would be the mace because it's gonna be electric. You see, so it'll be Tesla. The
I
Tesla
hope the-
mace.
No,
The
if
mace
it's
is
Tesla,
like
then it's
anti-vehicle
AP 0.
Yeah.
The mace could just be like anti-vehicle 4-off or something. All I know is that Ruben's gonna commit war crimes with this, and so am I.
Yeah.
I'm very ready.
play
The
Grey
new, I've played Grey Knights. Yeah,
Since when?
I played Grey Knights when I got into 40k again
gonna
in
say-
7th edition. I started with Grey Knights because they were the only army I could afford as a uni student. And I've
I
had
feel
them
like I've
since.
never seen you play Grey Knights.
I don't play them often because I only really play them when like Dread Knights are good and no one else on my team is playing them. But I have a bunch of people, like my team has like 7 Grey Knight players.
Oh yeah, Grey Knights was the fallback if GSC wasn't actually good for champs. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like they're an army that I play intermittently. But every time that every time that I've wanted to play them, like one of my other armies tends to be good. There's very rarely a time where Grey Knights are like the best of my armies, so I don't play them a ton. Same with Death Guard, right? Like I just don't
Got
really
it.
like when are Grey Knights and Death Guard ever really better than like one of Tyranids, Gene Cults, and Space Marines, right? Like that's just not really a thing that happens super frequently.
Sure.
So
And now Eldari.
and now Eldar, yeah. I'm just really putting them on the back burner. I play Knights as well,
To the
Anthony. Like
grave.
that's not a thing that's like the new Thousand Suns models look kind of weird.
The
I
paint
don't
job
hate
isn't
them.
doing them any favors. I think is the biggest problem.
Yeah. I'm glad that there's new Wolves for the Wolves.
I had a good
I-
chuckle because someone in one of my local chats was saying that like they said 20 data sheets in the preview, and there's like 30.
37, yeah, something like that.
I hope the new unit, the like head takers or whatever, don't have to take the weird wolf companion, like that they can just be an infantry unit. but
6-man
we'll see.
squad with Ragnar and Impulsor is what we're all really hoping for, right?
Sure, whatever. But like I don't know there enough about what they do. I just meant like I don't like it when they're like, oh, you have to take the little dude token.
I think they said in the reveal stream that they pick a target at the start of the game and they get dev wounds of precision against it.
Oh. That seems like a mistake, but all right.
Maybe that's just the dog that follows them around. You put the dog's just a token that you
But
put
they
with the
each
unit.
had one, so they have 6 tokens.
The
That
the
doesn't
Wolf
seem
Priest
right.
model with the hood is very imposing. I love the pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that their Grey Hunters are OC3 is probably not a good thing.
A little bit of
I will
that.
say one of the things I
Oh.
do like about this is that they finally realized that Marines don't just have to move 6.
I mean,
they stole
sorted
Emperor's
that out in the
Children's
Emperor's
only
Children
thing.
book.
Sure,
Yeah.
but like
They're gonna make Death Guard movement 6, and then everyone else will be 7.
no, I'm looking forward to like Plague Marines being toughness 9 or something stupid.
That'd be sick.
Death Strike
do
could be
that.
toughness 9, and if Death Strike should be every point of toughness Death Strike 1, they should lose a point of movement. So they can be T9, but they're movement 1.
And you choose at the beginning of the
Yeah,
game.
you can choose
how
to like
high
you
up
can
turn it.
you have 10 stat points to assign to movement and toughness, and you can choose whatever you want, buddy.
Each one's to a minimum of 1, so you could have 9-inch move T1.
I would do that. I would absolutely do that. You would do that and not think twice in Death Guard.
That'd be a fun detachment. Like combat drugs, but for them. All right.
Um,
Next
what
question.
else was there? Oh no, I have to answer my 40k book question.
Oh,
no
okay.
40k book has ever been better than a 7 out of 10, and I stand by that. But my favorite one is probably I really enjoyed Flight of the Eisenstein, which is not a
Damn it.
super common one, but I really enjoyed that one.
I actually was
I
going to
like
say
I
that.
quite
hate
like
you,
I
Innes.
quite like Garrow.
Garrow is my favorite in the old books. So yeah, I don't know outside of that.
I stopped reading Heresy. What's the Heresy book that's written like a diary? It's like the Ultramarines one.
No, I mean it's Ultramarines, so already it's gonna be boring as fuck.
Yeah, it was like
There's
I
only
don't
one
know.
Ultramarines book that they're even vaguely interesting in, and that's No Fear.
It might have. I don't even know if it was No Fear. It
Well,
was like
No
book
Fear is
15
the
or something like that.
No Fear is like deep in the Heresy. You would have had to make it quite
Yeah.
far to end up on that.
No Fear is book 19. I don't think it was that one. Oh no, it was. It was No Fear. Yeah, I gave up on No Fear.
oh.
No Fear is boring for a minute. It's like good in a trilogy.
Fair.
Yeah, I gave up on it on like 15 pages in, like 30 pages in. It was just like I can't even.
Oh yeah, no, that's not.
I am currently trying to
yeah.
slog through Fulgrim and not enjoying it. So
That
Um,
Fulgrim's all right. It gets crazy like all at once. So just
and then
give it a
I
little-
the only
I think that's the problem. Is that at the beginning I'm just kind of like this isn't at all interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
both are porn, cool, but
Yeah, the only 40k book I've read since like I got back into like I played 40k a bunch during high school, and then I got out like at the end of high school, got back in when I was at uni, and like between the two times I just never got back into reading 40k books. So I jumped from like I read all the Heresy stuff that was out up to when I stopped, and then I read all like the Aaron Dembski Bowden stuff, like the Night Lord trilogy and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then when I came back, I just never got back into reading the books.
Makes sense.
So the only one I read the first Dawn of Fire book when that came out with the edition, because like there was like some cool call stuff and some Goblin stuff, and I was like interested to see where that direction go. It just didn't grip me back in, so I just never got back into it.
Got it.
I did enjoy the Lion book, but there's still too many unanswered questions, so I didn't have a great time with it.
Oh man, they put out an Angron book at some point. And it's very like, dude, just hyperlink me the fucking store if you want me to buy stuff. Fuck you.
Every time that happens, I just get upset. I'm just like, please.
Dude, I can't finish those books. I get like a little bit in, and yeah.
The Lion at least didn't do
And
that.
the
But when it's
Primaris
like the help,
Inceptor fell from the sky next to the Primaris Suppressor.
yeah, that kind of
and
bullshit.
fired his twin linked bolter exterminators or whatever. It's like, God, fuck, dude, please.
Yeah. I just
Alright.
I hate how little I get that it's the point. I hate how little they answer in the books. I want them to tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to know I want to know everything. And if it doesn't
Yeah.
tell me everything, I just get annoyed.
No, that's fair. All right. Next question is from Bearded Horse, aka Micah McComb. Golden rule for taking your bio list to a teams event, Anthony.
Don't hard pick your buffs in any matchups except if you're going. The only time you should hard pick a buff in Bile is when you're picking movement for specifically matchups where you don't need additional damage. That's it.
Makes sense.
The rest of the time, just roll.
Use the Huntsman on the objectives. Save your Legionnaires for late game. They're your late game insurance piece.
Yep.
Early game, easy to kill Legionnaires. Late game, bit harder. Early game, harder to kill. Huntsman.
Yep.
All right. Chris Pauly. How viable do you think horror spam Shadow Legion would be as a skew in teams? Don't do that.
Don't do it.
It's
Play
bad.
Narglings. Narglings are better. So are Screamers. So are Flamers. So are
Yeah.
Curse Cultists.
Flamers
So
and the
are-
Exalted Flamer is terrifying.
Pretty good.
Just
Just play any of the other
These
better
did
guilds.
not
If
have
you
to
wanna-
be -1 to be hit in melee as well as in shooting, by the way.
It's
I
very
think it's
similar.
good.
No, it's really good.
I think it's fine. Not
Yeah.
that build, but the army rule in general. It's very funny on a soul grinder. I'm still not convinced it's good, but it's very funny.
Minus 1 to wound Nurglings is very funny though.
Grinders, dude.
Nurglings, yeah, probably shouldn't get that.
I
but-
don't even. It's not even that big of a deal. They're
I know,
toughness
it's
2. Who cares?
They're not. They're toughness
Or
3.
3, whatever. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
You have to be strength 7 to wound them on 3s. And I know that you, as a strength-pilled army, are okay with that, Anthony. But
I play Bile too. I'm playing
Uh,
EC.
I mean, 6 you'd win them
Fine.
on 3s as well.
6 you do them on 3s, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Tom H. What is the least bad GSC detachment to play with no reps?
Bio. Just like,
Bioscientific, yeah.
without doubt. Hit your 8-inch charges, don't think too hard, roll force in your fight on death. You can 3 and 2 with Bioscientific without thinking too hard.
Yep.
As long as you're not playing on like the worst GW boards imaginable, where you just get shot to death by more DACA constantly. In which case, yeah, nothing can help you.
Yeah. All right. Frank has a question that I'm going to address right off the bat. Do you think the DACA bans did more harm or good in calling attention to its issues? On the one hand, flat bans haven't been seen before, and GW tends to take notice. On the other, it does mean that DACA has an artificially lower win rate by nature of exclusion from a variety of events. That's not true at all, because if they're not being played, then they're not winning. Then they're not losing games or winning games, so it doesn't affect their win rate at all. It affects their
Play rate,
event win, and their play rate, and that's it. Because their overrep is still a representation of how often they're doing well at the tournaments they're already present at. And win rate is just a representation of how they're doing outside of that. Also, I think Alpine Cup is the only event that's actually flat out banned them.
There's been a few more like random, like a couple events in the States and things like that. There's been
but they're tiny, inconsequential events at the end of the day. Like you don't have events.
Mean, but yes.
But like you don't. It's not like Adepticon banned them. Like that's kind of what Alpine did here.
I mean, Adepticon doesn't make good choices for its players because it doesn't care about them.
No, but it's the most recent event, Anthony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like Cali Cup's going to go ban DACA. Although if it's still in its current state,
I don't know if it would or wouldn't actually.
Over.
Yeah,
maybe.
But yeah, and then Frank has an unrelated question: if Fulgrim ends up being an 130mm base, what needs to change about his profile data sheet points to make him remotely close to viable? I'm pretty sure he is on a 130.
If he's on a 130, it does not matter. Outside of like the point of actual ludicrousy, what they like point him at really, he has to be so cheap to be even vaguely usable that it's like just oops, we've made a mistake, and he has to be like 220 points.
It's gonna be rough. He'd have to get like a move through walls ability or something like that.
Even with that, landing places, he flies,
Yeah.
right? So like he flies and he's quick. It's not like where he can go.
But it's still like that's a 6-inch pipe plate.
Yeah, it's where it's got to land.
He's gonna get like a displacement roll. Like he can just land on top of things
and just shove them out of the way.
Just shoves
Sure.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
He's like 500 points because he's the most broken model in the game because of it.
Yeah, he
can shove any non-Titanic unit 6 inches to fit.
He's got lashes. He just gets lashes submission.
Lashes slash, yeah.
Oh.
I don't think he can be good at that base size, which is wild.
But he'll be a cool model.
Yeah.
Hey, he'll be really good on like GW layout 5, like GW layout 5 in Dawn of War, where there's no runes to block you anyway. So,
sure. I mean, he's still dead, so
yeah, details.
All right. Goran asks, going to my first Alpine teams at the end of the month with Eaters, any advice?
Just be like conservative in your estimations, and like keep in mind that obviously all your games have like the get crazy outs that Eaters have, right?
Let your
Sometimes it
opponents
gets
fuck
fucking
up.
wild, and you get to smash nerds, but like Alpine is, in my opinion, doing a weird thing where they're using WTC terrain without WTC charging rules, with those long-ass walls that can make things a little complicated as a melee army, that in ways that it doesn't usually become complicated on a GW layout.
Interesting.
So be conservative in your estimations and just try and
So WTC team event, WTC terrain, but not WTC FAQ, or just not the charging part of the FAQ?
I have no idea exactly where it breaks down. I don't know where it's going sideways.
I'll go ask Lim and find out exactly what the hell's going on, because
yeah. But yeah, it's so just again, be conservative in your estimations. You always have the Eaters out of like maybe a game gets crazy. Try and do well.
Okay, Pius is saying WCC FAQ is in fact a besides charging.
That's even more weird. Whatever. It's fine.
I learned today that their FAQ just flat out doesn't acknowledge that warlocks can join guardians and also attach a farseer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just said you can't do that.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's kind of like
That is the current ruling that I believe is being challenged or something.
Should be challenged because it's flat out wrong.
I think it's funny and it should be held in place because it makes Eldar players sad.
No. If you want to do the funny thing, you say that rules is written. The warlock conclaves don't have the character keyword, and so they can't use the leader ability at all.
I think that's way better. Yeah, we should do that. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
If you're gonna do like a strict raw interpretation, at least rule it right.
I think that's funny.
Anyway,
will it make Seer Council players upset? If yes, I think it should be held.
Sorry, Boone. Yeah. Not really, but
not really.
All right. Lizard Wizard, change your name on Discord to include part of your proper name. It is one of the rules that you acknowledged. Innes, do you still like Host of Ascension without running 100 plus Neos? What would you potentially include instead?
Yeah, dude, just slam in 20 Metamorphs. It's fine. Play 60 Neos, 20 Metamorphs, and like the same core. It's still completely fine. You play like 2 Benefactuses and 1 Primus, and it's totally good. I don't like it as much as the Neophyte build, but it is very powerful. If you're playing on like GW layout 7 and 8, it's actually probably a better list as well. If you're playing on some of the less dense layouts, it's not necessarily strictly better, but it's totally fine.
Makes sense.
Hilariously, a Neo brick with a character is more expensive than a meta unit with a character, so you actually get some points back if you do it that way as well.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
All right. Eric asks, do you think Noise Marines coming into CSMS options move the needle on anything for them? 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes Renegade.
They're pretty good in Renegade Raiders.
I
really good in Renegade Raiders.
Yeah, having access to that datasheet alone makes Bile like the 3rd best CSM detachment. After that, it's like, oh, okay, all right, well, it was a good run.
They're very good in Vets. They're very good in Renegade Raiders.
Yeah.
I have played a couple test games into it just to like see what it feels like, and having like a Noise Marine squad pop 2 CP, jump out of a transport, nuke 2 things, charge and nuke a 3rd is just like, oh, that's a lot of stuff for not many points.
Really
Meanwhile, it's like
nuke a 3rd in melee.
I was playing Eldar.
Oh. All right, fine, but I'm just saying, like,
Sako runs the power sword on his as well, so they like.
Sako's a gamer, dude. I'm not built that way.
I love the power sword on the leader.
Yeah.
But
Sako is built different, and he's a hero. But yeah, that man with 5-3-1 is scarier. The firing decking sustained hits Blastmasters is a crime as well.
I mean, Blastmasters are usually sustained when you shoot them because you have a cacophonous and Emperor's Children that doesn't.
For sure, but the +1 AP helps.
It doesn't hurt.
Helps.
I gotta tell you, I've just been rooting shit when I shoot them with Noise Marines. Being AP2 does not matter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I can't roll a 4 to wound to save my life on a Noise Marine, so.
Oh, we're built different, son. I've been blowing shit apart, man.
I fired 2 squads. I'm like very carefully like not advancing anything so I can fire all 3 Noise Marine squads at the same target to make sure I kill 1 dude. I'm like, I can't move anything further than 6 because I need that dead.
Lilithar points out, I heard an interesting thing about Noise Marines and Dread Talons being funny. Yes, it is funny, but
sure. They're actually they're quite good in Deceptors.
Yes.
It turns out if you have a really good data sheet, it's good in most places. Yes.
Yeah.
It's true.
Dude, they're good in Bile.
I'm curious if they'll end up like agents where they end up with a different costing in the 2.
I would hope so. It'd be pretty sad if EC got nerfed for CSM sins.
Yep. Yeah, they should just go up in EC as well.
Though I think again, like they're one of the best units in the game. Like they're one of the best units in the EC book. If Winged Princes weren't like comically undercosted, then Noise Marines would be the best unit in that book.
Is it Noise Marines or is it Cacophonous though?
No, it's Noise Marines.
60 are kind of stupid as well, but
I mean, Cacophonists are fine. They're a dude with 2 pistols. Like they're
on their own, they're whatever. Like they're good, cheap. They're
weirdly
damage.
good lone operatives on analogs if you want them to be as well, which is quite funny. But
they're not lone operative. Oh, you mean like
pseudo? Yeah.
Okay.
They're just 60-point dude with 2 up save, right?
Yeah. It's a 60-point Terminator body running around saying, "I dare you to try to shoot me."
Hilariously, they don't have deep strike. Why don't they have deep strike? They join Terminator units.
They join Terminators. They break it.
Yep. They don't have.
They really just need a rider saying, "If while leading a Terminator unit, this unit gains."
They don't have deep strike. Like that data sheet is already on like Struggle Bus City, given that it only goes to 5s and doesn't have a data sheet roll. But
just let it go.
And then they make
just let it be bad.
If
That's fine.
if you can't be balanced, you get to be bad. It's just the
Yeah.
other direction.
Yeah, correct.
All right, let's wrap this up. We've got 2 more questions. So, Sean says, all of your physical armies suddenly crumble into ash. What are you rebuilding, or are you just quitting 40k?
Eaters.
Dark Angels. Maybe vote in.
GSC probably.
Yeah.
No,
wouldn't
no,
mind
my
it.
nids, my nids.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nids then
Definitely not quitting. I think all of us are way too deep into this to just quit.
I actually had this conversation recently, and I was like, yeah, it'd have to be like I was blinded in an accident or something like that at this point.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a social life outside of this game anymore.
Yeah. Logan, I'm just going to comment right now because it's not actually a question. Glasshammer did ban DACA, so yes, that
Glasshammer
one
did,
does
yeah.
matter.
Yep.
That is a decent sized tournament that has a fair amount of reach, and also,
I mean, it's
Talk
banning
about
banning
it.
it after having played it, right? So
Oh yeah, rules for thee and not for me, very much.
no,
so,
I think
or-
it's.
Oh,
I can also respect
I
that
don't
Manny
view it
like
that way at all.
yeah,
but-
Manny played it was like nope, that's not okay. We're not doing that again.
Yeah.
Protect the experience of his players. I can totally respect that.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Nick K asked, what do you think the power level of non-Yunari Eldar is?
A little
Probably
better than the stats, but a lot worse than Yunari.
Yeah, like maybe the upper end of a balanced army.
I think it's mostly just like most of the good Eldar players are playing Devoted because it's really good. The stats for Aspect Host or War Host or Windrider Host would be better if they were playing them, but they are not because Yunari is right there being broken. So
Yeah.
why would you? I think 50, like what was he said? We said Aspect Host was tracking about 50. I think
Yeah.
Aspect Host is probably like somewhere in the region of like a 52 to 53% army.
I'm just like quietly
Wow.
hoping that like people leave it the fuck alone and don't fuck around with Aspect Host too much because that army fucks up everything
Yeah.
that I play real
Yeah.
bad.
Mhm.
That's very good.
Just- You mean you don't like playing against Dark Reapers?
Yeah, I don't. There he is.
Or that asshole? All right, and the last
terrible,
question,
dude.
Pius,
He's
sneaking
awful.
in just under the
We got
line.
more Wave Serpents sitting there ready to go, Anthony. I'm ready.
Yeah, they're just like, no, you're on my team.
No, and if we have to play Scotland, and we have to play, that's all right.
All right, Pius with the greatest question: what does your perfect food situation at a tourney look like?
All right,
LGT in 23 or whatever. Fucking
Just
like
trucks,
six,
right?
just like 6 good food trucks, a couple
Yeah.
budget ones, a couple
Yep.
more expensive ones.
Yeah, that was Grand Clash here in
pretty great.
Polyval 2 years ago. I think I was at. It
yeah,
was the same
fucking
thing.
Crushed
Walk
it.
outside, food trucks, great fusion
All-
food.
I'll shout out Las Vegas. Just ordered in pizza for everybody both days. Couldn't complain.
I'm not a
Yep.
huge fan of pizza.
Look, I'm not like I like a
Sorry,
pizza.
Pizza at tournaments because
just
I
showed
got
up
if
at
I have to play
lunchtime and it
2
was
rounds
there and it was
afterwards,
free.
it's just horrible.
That's
Yeah.
fair. You might
Um,
lactose intolerant, Jeremy.
Mildly, yes.
There you go. It's not a great thing. Yeah, I get it then.
My
Like
favorite by far though is what Dan's been doing, which is just simple like deli wraps and sandwiches for lunch. It's just there.
I'm
You
like
grab it.
slightly too fussy for like a pre-made sandwich that I didn't like customize myself, unfortunately.
No, that's and
That was
that's
always
and that's
disappointing
fair.
for me. But, yeah.
But the food
Like, I
truck
didn't- I
option is
did-
definitely the best.
I definitely I didn't order food for this weekend because I'm like I'll just figure something out, and that's my preference. But
I haven't.
My
ordered food
preference
for
is,
this
like,
weekend.
near
We will
food.
figure it out together.
what I will actually say, the best event I've ever been to for food was the ETC 2018 in Zagreb because it was in a sports stadium directly next to a massive shopping center. So we could just all go, and there were supermarkets, and there was a food court, and it was all just right there, and it was
I
the
will say
easiest.
the best food experience I've had at a tournament was Champions Cup last year because Dan Guanacci just basically showed up with food for us at every
Dan
round.
is
He was like
Upstate
the
Dan,
best
baby.
coach for that.
upstate and upstanding.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
So,
Is that the last question? Do I have
that
to
is the
bed?
last question.
Sick. Jeremy, you have to do the thing. I'm not doing it
Oh,
this week.
I do have to do the thing. I have to find it first. Give me a second. Boop, boop, boop. It's down here. Church of the High Five. So one of the things that you do
sick.
get to do if you happen to join us at the $15 tier on either Patreon or YouTube is you get to harass myself, Innes, Nathan, Anthony, whoever ends up having to do this. You get to get personally thanked. And as part of being personally thanked, you get to basically choose how you get called out. We did this at the beginning and we've never changed it despite it being a horrible mistake.
Oh, it
So-
was awful. Truly. But
But we're locked into it now, so we're just going to keep doing it. All right. So I want to give thanks to Christopher Yinkarnd during deployment Irvine. Thanks to Willow Weeks. Thanks to Dan F. Thanks to Luke Dan F. McCarthy. Thanks to David Clark. Thanks to E-I-E-I ear. Ow. Thanks to James H. Thanks to Colton Dan F. Miller. Thanks to Fungus. Thanks to John V8 Gang. The real enemy isn't detachments or win rates. It's the hobby lag that doesn't let us put our guys on the table when we want them.
No, it's Orc players.
Orc players, not players of people who happen to play Orcs.
Yeah.
Thanks to Cam, FDan, Morton, Hog Emoji. Thank you to Archon Rahal, proudly being the heels of Warhammer since the first Eldar Codex, because here at Eldar Union, we're better than you.
Agreed.
Thank you to Josiah Gattle. Thank you to Frankie Sesame Baby One More Time Fresh. Thank you to Isaac. My Orc team is out of town, so can Nerfs wait till after I get a golden ticket borrowing his army? Thanks. Tarada. Thank you to Why does the Slaughterbound, the tallest 8-bound, not simply eat the others?
It does.
Thank you to Thomas. I'm too tired. Please pretend there's something funny here. Verkoyan. Thank you to Stephen. That 5-inch charge ended up being harder than anticipated. Ross. Thank you to blank. Thank you to Tom Malachi McHyson's overly aggressive Scottish accent H. Thank you to shout out to the boy for killing it in school lately. One may see he is a much like a super heavy walker having true line of sight at all times. And then thanks for the stats.
Thanks. I think it would have been cooler if Slaughterbound were 8-8-bound combined into one.
Oh, you mean like they might actually give the Slaughter Brute rules in 40k?
Oh, dude, one day.
Oh, you just port the Age of Sigmar model over like their Thousand Sons.
Like the Mutalith.
I think. Do you think if they removed the Mutalith, anybody would care except Thousand Sons players?
I think people would be quite happy if they did that, actually.
Aside from that model has got to be the worst thing to do as Thousand Sons, right?
I think that one thing that is lurking in the winds as like a real issue for Eldar is the triple muta builds coming back. Those assholes being auras of mortal wounds is like not awesome.
Look, you just don't have enough faith in your fire dragons, you know?
One of them will connect. Fire dragons on a Thousand Sons table?
Not only that, but fire dragons coming close to a Mutalith?
You're looking soft, submissive, and doom-boltable, sir.
Look.
One of my buddies has been running the solo Termi Sork and T-Sons, and he's just saying it is the worst thing for Eldar to play against.
The solo? What does that
Termi
even
Sork.
do?
It's, I think it's just using it for Deep Strike, but...
I love the idea of like,
the
what's
idea
the
of
rules?
just Deep Strike is the worst thing.
I'm going to look it up now, because I haven't actually played one, so I have no idea what it does.
I really hope it's just that he can cast Doombolt. He's just a sorcerer with Deep Strike.
That would be very funny if that was the case. All right, Terminator Sorcerer. Where are you? Thousand Sons Sorcerer and Terminator Armor. That's why I can never find it, because it has the worst goddamn names.
His ability is just pick a unit, you get reroll once.
Reroll once? Okay, never mind. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your guy's trolling you.
Oh. No, that's also not that great.
The concept of Deep Strike fucks them.
I'm telling you, it's Deep Striking Doombolt. That's it.
His gun's kind of fun.
But what are we talking about?
What are we doing, dude?
That's all I can find here. So that's why I'm stretching here.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm pretty sure that the biggest problem with Thousand Sons though is that, like, do you not just like existentially die to the amount of damage that the army does to you? But I'm just imagining, like, oh yeah, I got all these rubrics, man. The first one, like, overwatches a War Spider squad. The next two just like evaporate for 200-point units, and you're like, ah, cool. I have no command points.
Gone. I don't know. I'm telling you, man. I think there's like game and triple muta into devoted, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not important. They're gonna get a book soon. It doesn't fucking matter anymore.
That's also fair.
Maybe
also, just no Thousand Sons players any good at Warhammer anymore, right? Every single one of them's brain rotted themselves to death.
They're all
complaining
playing
about
fucking. They're all the same. This
Ynnari.
is the problem. Yeah, they're playing fucking Ynnari now.
That's not true. TJ's playing.
No, they're playing Guard or Shadow Legion now. I think mostly for Thousand Sons players.
Yeah, nah. That's it, dude.
All right. I think that is going to be it for us for this week. I will not be on the show next week because I will have just traveled back from Canada and I will be schleppy. So I will be taking the week off. Hopefully Nathan will be joining next week. I think he should be all sorted. He should finish moving in. Maybe. I'm not going to promise anything.
I think next
fingers
week
crossed.
we should all tell Nathan that we're going to be here and then just make him do an episode by himself.
No, that's mean.
So harsh. I'm sure Nathan listens to the show when he's not on it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much to everybody. If you are at the Toronto Teams Tournament this weekend, come say hi. We'll be there. I'm sure you noticed, but come say hi. Otherwise, best of luck at any tournaments, unless you're a Mordaka player, in which case I wish you all of the best of luck. I hope you smash it and have a 97% win rate this weekend, because
Please
quite
do.
frankly, like this weekend was almost a little embarrassing, but they were still high enough that we felt good about it. But yeah, I can't handle it if they're like below 50 for any reason. So if you guys could all, like, if Seth wants to win a tournament this week exactly, I'll excuse it. It's the 1 week he's allowed to do it.
No, Seth is something that they remain unnerfed until I think April 9th is his rules lock for the event that he's going to with them.
I hope Seth is never going to
I'd
win
make
a
it
tournament with
8
Mordaka.
days. That's tough, dude.
I don't know, man. That
I mean,
doesn't...
it's a week basically.
That's 8 days, son. That's what I just said.
Yeah,
I don't think Seth deserves that. So
Seth has already played his card.
yeah, Seth used it too early, dumbass. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Nathan's not here to do the words, so catch you later.